This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Cheers, boys. Cheers. That'll put a little lead in your pencil. That it will. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast. Coming at you from the Okayest Hunter podcast studio. I know it sounds loud here, but it's not when it's done. I don't know why.
It's just right.
Brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Spartan Forge. Head on over to spartanforge.ai. They are on the fucking precipice of launching their app. They're just dealing with the App Store bureaucratic stuff.
Yeah,
They gotta get approved or whatnot.
Yeah, it takes some
I'm
time.
answering a ton of questions and personal messages from all of our following that are wondering what's going on. So
Likewise.
we're just waiting for it to get through App Store. Once it gets through that, it's game on.
We're testing it. I have it now. Greg's been having it, and there's some nuances. There'll be a little bit of learning curve, but overall, it's very feature rich. There's some really great things you can do on the mobile app, as I'm talking about. I've been just living on it over the last couple of days, dissecting the crap out of some public land that I know I'm be hitting up.
Hawking the weather, seeing if I can sneak in. Yeah, I love having the fact that it's right there on the app.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So if you want to save some money, 25% off, use code OHP, which stands for Okayest Hunter Podcast, in case you couldn't put those two neurons together in your brain like I can't.
You did fine.
Oh, you guys, I'm running low on
Survival.
sleep. I'm running on fumes. So
Yeah.
this is my 5th cup of coffee, and now I'm finally drinking a scotch for the first time in probably last time we did this.
Little Irish coffee.
You're
huh?
moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
good.
We'll get there. I'll probably
Line it
pass
up and
out.
shut it down.
Also, shout out to our friends at Go Wild. Greg and I are on Go Wild. Are you on Go Wild yet?
I think I do have an account, but I don't know if I've petered around too much yet.
no.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
There's so many platforms, but what I like about that platform is everybody hunts, fishes, hikes, and does a ton of outdoor activities. It's not like Instagram or Facebook where you gotta kind of find groups of people. That's
Well,
your
you can
group.
even find people. There's a thing on the upper right that you can do like nearby. So
Yeah.
then you can even see people that are actually kind of close to you
Yep.
It's kind of cool.
in proximity. Like you don't know where the hell they are. It's not like the where to hunt at, but
It's
it's
not
like,
gonna get their
hey,
address.
here's your feed of people that are actually in your region. So if you wanted to reach out,
Yeah.
like, hey, what stream are you trout fishing? Or,
Heck yeah.
but if you sign up now, they just released their new program. You're gonna get a $10 gift card when you join, and they actually have like e-commerce baked in their platform, so you can buy trail cams and gear. And I got a free T-shirt with my points sent to me, and I think I got like 20% off of whatever the hell I want to buy if it's
Yeah.
through them directly. And then they have like affiliate partners, so I could even buy through like Cabela's or something too.
right different trail cameras, broadheads, whatever you want to buy.
They're working
Whatever.
with brands like Garmin, Vortex, Rocky Boots, Irish Setter Boots, Treason, Northern. And they got a whole bunch of brands that
Sure.
are like all about getting in front of their audience. So
So
take advantage of it.
if you need gear and you sign up and start logging trophies and experiences, you earn points.
Listen to podcasts. You
Yep.
can even just hey, if you're listening to a freaking podcast.
Right. But you earn points and you can use those points towards buying gear. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd have to rack that up. I'm in the market for another trail cam. I lost one this
Oh,
weekend.
man.
Oh no! How'd you lose it?
People suck.
I
That's how
got
you lose
legs
it.
and walked away.
Jeez. Speaking of coffee, I did get a new code from our friends at Backwoods Grind.
What?
OHP for 10%
Wow,
off.
Imagine that.
Yeah, they're doing good. They got their own podcast now these days.
I saw
They're
that.
talking a bunch about what they got going on over there with that.
Duck hunting, turkey hunting, deer hunting. They do it all.
Yeah, we made it to there's a site called Chartable that ranks podcasts on iTunes based on category. We're in the wilderness category and the sports category, and we hit number 60, which is like a pretty big deal. But now we're like headed way back under 200, so we're getting back to okay status again, guys.
That's all right.
Yeah,
we'll take our spot back at the dethrone.
that's all good.
So I mean, thanks everybody. It's all because of our listeners. Everyone that listens to
Yeah.
this thing and shares it and rates it and reviews it. That's how that actually like something must have happened.
Yep.
You guys must like what we're doing here, so we appreciate the support.
Thank you.
You certainly do.
And by the way, today we're just going to talk. These guys got out to hunt. I have been just not sleeping with our new baby and adjusting. So I've been getting a lot of gear shipped to me. In fact, right before my son was born, I pulled the trigger on the Moultrie Delta
Cell cam.
cell cam.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've just been like a kid during Christmas watching the mailman show up every day. I got my new XOP bag. I'll have to show it to you before you leave.
Sure.
In the mail. What else did I get? I don't know.
Broadheads?
My broadheads, which I got the strap for, and I shot them the other day at 10 yards. Deep penetration, good flight at 10 yards. I can't imagine much will go wrong, but leave it to me to figure that out.
If you can't be in the woods, you might as well buy some stuff that'll
Yeah.
hopefully be useful in the woods.
Yeah, I'm
that's
getting there, guys. I washed all my stuff. I'm like all prepped, you know? I cleaned up my bag, my tote, the shit I found in there for me.
I was shaking pine needles out of all my
Yes, lots of
clothes
pine
and
needles.
just dried
Yep.
leaves everywhere.
Dried leaves, bark.
That's the cover scent, though. That's good.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's all good stuff.
What else? A lot of old hand warmers.
Yeah, especially if you're using that stuff late season or some of it gets repurposed during gun season.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of, what else? A lot of like, there's like a quarter bit of juice left in the butane for the Thermacell. I found a bunch of those.
My Thermacell, I bought one 2 years ago, probably before season last year, because I just remember how bad the bugs were. Bought a brand new Thermacell, got bought the big refill packs.
Yep.
I'm like, these bugs love me. I'm going to need it. I had it in the woods with me on Saturday. Would not start. It wouldn't like.
Whoa.
Oh,
I got it
man.
on. I'm clicking it.
Click,
What
click,
the heck?
click,
And
click,
the mosquitoes are landing on it. That's my first glimpse
Yeah.
of it. Didn't want to
It's
work.
not working.
So I knew that was bad. And I don't know. I couldn't.
I try to get the thing
couldn't
going
get it
on
to
my
fire
way out. So by the time I get there, it's heated and pumping that stuff out. If you wait till you get to the spot to turn on, it takes too long for it to get going, I think. But
Yeah, I
you,
couldn't
in
get
your
it
case, you
going
couldn't
at
get it.
all.
Oh my God, I would have like exited the
Maybe-
woods and went to breakfast.
I
Maybe
had
you gotta-
I had the big bug net, like the $1.99 one, so I threw it over my hat. So I mean, you're hearing them.
Yeah.
At least they're not on you.
Yeah.
Still annoying as hell.
You guys,
Oh, yeah.
and you are out in a swamp.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's dry out there, but like I'm trying to walk slowly and quietly in there. Well, that just gives them more time to land on you. So I was getting lit up, but not as bad as I would in a normal season when there's water standing everywhere.
Yeah.
So the petri dish has been drained, but they still have places that they can come from.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
some laid some eggs in my trash can. So
Yeah.
that was a fun experience.
Yeah, those bugs were bad, but I saw the picture you put out of your pants.
Oh my gosh.
The
What'd you do?
burrs?
Oh yeah,
Dude,
that's right.
beggars lice are
I
the devil.
hate those.
They have that.
things.
I haven't tried it, but there's a product.
Yeah.
The bear paw. The
One
burr,
of, one
the
of
burr
our
paw.
listeners actually sent me a link to it. It was
Uh,
pretty
After
I heard
that
it, like, it's
horrible
pretty-
picture
Oh, yeah.
you posted,
I'm
that
like,
was
well, this is how it ended.
oh,
Yeah. But I knew that was going to happen.
Look like a horror movie.
Because I know where that
Terrifying.
patch is to access that. So I purposely went around it kind of the long way. And then I'm getting out in the dark and I'm trying not to use a flashlight too much. And I'm walking and I'm like, shoot, I'm past that one tree. Oh, if I'm past that one tree, that means, yep, I feel them. They're everywhere.
Dude, they're stuck
They're
to
caught
my
in
one.
my
They make
saddle.
everything loud because now my jacket arm rubs to my
Oh, it's like
jacket side.
Velcro.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That stuff is like Velcro. But yeah, all over my legs, all up in my saddle, on my backpack, all over my straps,
On
my
your
sticks.
Saddle? Did you say?
Yeah.
I know I've been grilling you about your saddle because I've been watching all of every latitude video that exists on YouTube. I've consumed.
Mhm.
I've watched the one with the founder himself, Alex Chop, a few times because of that single hand adjustment that just is built in.
Yeah.
And just trying to figure out what all the points are for adjusting comfortability.
Yep.
It's my
And
belief
it works. It
that-
works nice.
this is the most quiet one that you can get because there's no metal that's going to touch anything.
Right.
And then it's, I think, the most comfortable because it has the most variables to adjust the comfort.
Yeah, that two
But you-
panel is pretty sweet.
You were doing it. So
Yeah,
walkout was good and the
Yeah,
hunt was
walkout
comfy.
was phenomenal. It was quiet. I mean, I'm traditionally a tree stand guy, but going into some of these spots, I know for a fact something's going to come up and whip me in the back and right where the tree stand is, and it'll make noise, no question. So it was nice. I got that it's like a bug out bag. It's a military surplus backpack. It's huge.
That's right.
And
bag.
I fit my camera arm, my camera, the speaker, the base for the camera arm.
And did you wear the saddle out? Or did you stuff that in the bag too?
No, I wore it out.
You did.
Yep.
All right.
And then the platform fit in the bag too. And then on the outside, I had 4 short sticks, my cut downs. I put them on there, and I just used a gear tie and like there's an upper strap with a clip. I was able to clip them on and then gear tie them to my pack. I didn't have to worry about them getting caught in anything except for the burrs, which is nice. but pretty quiet. Being able to get in there without worry about something whipping me in the back, and it always does, and then making that clanging.
Yeah, because
sound.
some of the stuff you and I had gone through, similar area, I'm imagining, where you were, and
Yep.
you duck and you kind of crawl sometimes, or you
Doesn't
step into
matter
something
what
too
you do.
deep, and
Yeah.
if it's just your own profile, I think it's, I don't know. I'm very excited to try mine and get out there with it. So I was like, tell me everything.
Right.
And you just got a new bag for it? Did you say you ordered?
I got a new bag. I'm just waiting for the sticks and the platform.
That setup you just mentioned sounds good because your sticks are on the outside, platforms on the inside.
Yep.
There's no metal on the Latitude, so you didn't have anything to worry about pulling out your platform,
Right.
banging into something else that's metal in there.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yep. It
'Cause I
is.
always get excited when I get to the tree and it's like, all right, let's get set up. And then all of a sudden you do one thing.
Clink.
Didn't see
Yep.
that clank. And,
That,
you're like,
and whether
"Shut
they
up."
bust them out or not, they know you're there now.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
they're not moving, right?
So I had two things that one was setting up. I must have, when I built that platform, I either put just too much crank on the bolt to tighten it. It's pretty tight and it squeaked. Like, oh man, when I'm trying to cam lock it to the tree, it was really loud. Even in the wind, I'm pretty sure if there's anything bed close, it heard it. It had to have.
But the yarn sound isn't as bad as a clank sound.
No,
At least that
it's
could be
not.
mistaken for an animal of some sort.
Yeah, well, no,
The
I could
fuck
have been
kind of bird was
mistaken
that?
for a tree swaying in the
Yeah,
wind creaking,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Better than
I,
a metallic ting,
Yeah.
for sure.
well, that came later.
Okay, I'm learning more about this hunt
only,
now.
Only coming down, it made that. No, I mean, getting up the tree, I'm definitely slower, but I also went buckless method this year.
You also went buckless.
buckless on the opening day. But
Hey, you
buckleless.
buckless. How's it going?
Yeah. So no buckles on the straps. So that takes a little more time jacking around, trying to wrap it, pull it, and wrap it again, and then do another wrap so you're not tripping on it. It's quieter because you don't have to worry about that buckle swinging around and catching a limb or one of the sticks or anything. But it takes more time. And when you put my girth on top of
It
it,
makes noise anyways.
no, it doesn't make any noise.
Oh, okay. It didn't like scrape on the
Unless
bark
you
or
hear the
something.
tree crying.
Okay.
But-
Maybe. My second grade
but
teacher used to
it-
say, I just heard a tree cry when he'd like hit nature with a stick.
It doesn't make any noise.
That's how the weeping willow got its name.
Right.
Oh my God, because
Crying.
Greg.
Yeah, all because of me. But it didn't make any noise. It holds tight. I can bounce on top of that stick, and it doesn't do anything weird. The platform is where I do use a buckle,
Mhm.
just because it's more reliable.
You want to have some confidence in the load.
Yeah.
You're standing the whole time.
Right. So
And you're not a wide load, but you're not a light load.
no, exactly. I'm proportionate. It's fine. So breaking down, I'm doing this in the dark and get it off the tree. And of course the buckle swings down and I try to catch it and I miss. It just nearly hits a stick. I finally grab a hold of it. Then I wrap it around. Well, I wrapped it around and tried, wrapping the loop around the bat wing to kind of cinch it down. Well, I missed. It came swinging around and went clang.
Oh, oops.
And I have that thing covered up in like stealth strips and it still clangs.
Well, not that much velocity behind
Yeah.
it, I suppose.
So it is what it is. But when I got to the bottom of the tree, that's when I heard deer coming for me. And then they were blowing.
They're out of there. Probably a couple of does. Hopefully not your buck.
No, I don't think it was a
I'm just
doe.
trying to make you feel better. We all know you're buckless anyways.
That's fine.
Oak Tree Dreams, howdy. Thanks for tuning in. Nico, what's going on? Alex, we know you're out there hunting right now.
Good luck, buddy.
So you had a
Yeah,
spike
get 'em.
and a doe come by 30 minutes after setup, but nothing since about 2 hours ago. Good for you, man. Here you are on the phone. Don't pay attention to us too much.
Yeah, you watch it.
That's about the okayest hunter thing I've ever witnessed.
9-pointer on your 6, bud.
Watching the okayest hunter while you're hunting, missing deer makes you a more okayest hunter.
Yeah.
Will be the reason you don't get a deer tonight. Another buckless. Hey, they're back. Congratulations on the new edition. Thank you, Doug Leary. Appreciate that.
I got to tell you, man, I am putting the buckles back on.
Are you really?
I went buckleless this weekend also. I was up 2 dead ash trees, and the bark that's loose, I would put them on as tight as I
like a
could,
sled.
and that thing,
Would
you know,
slut.
It
would
was
it
slip.
wasn't coming off at all. It
No.
just, I knew with the strap, if I would have wrenched on it and then cinched it, it wouldn't have moved. But that little bit of playing that, and I mean, it shouldn't
Yeah.
be climbing a dead tree, but it's an okay thing to do.
Right.
So,
So,
so I
I
was
think
in
you
2
tagged-
dead ash trees
Yeah.
last weekend.
Yeah.
One oak tree that was alive. They worked great on that.
Yeah.
But if I got to get an ash tree, I don't know. I got to get my buckles back on. I missed
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I missed them.
but it's
Yeah.
quieter. I mean, right? And it's
Oh, it's definitely quieter. Faster. I wouldn't say they're faster
Okay.
for getting it on the tree. Just cinch and set and go.
Mhm.
It's definitely quicker to have the buckle on.
I do notice I'm pretty careful, like the traditional lone wolf, the single steps that, trying to be real cautious of not letting something hit or touch.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of slack there to get around those trees. And you
Right.
got that metal hanging on all the opposite end, all that slack. So you could do what you did on the way down, but I do it on the way up.
Yeah.
Knowing me. So, but it was all right having the tree to your front rather than your back. Like, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was
Do
fine.
you have to think differently about how you were going to
Well,
set up? Normally you're like, oh, okay.
So, and that's always a learning curve too. And even I think after the 10th or 12th sit in this thing, it'll probably be like, yep, I can see that tree is leaning back this way about 10 degrees.
Mhm.
This is the side I'm going to need to be on because naturally that's the way my body weight's going to want to pull. Gravity, it's kind of a bitch, but it does its thing. And so we have to work with it.
Sure.
But that was my first mistake with this. Is all excited to get up the tree, found the tree. I know where this buck is moving through. I'm not far away. Up I go, and this was the only limbless tree I could get in without busting a bunch of branches out of it, making a crap.
I bought a
ton
new
of noise.
clippers too.
That's good.
Little, what do they call them? A little trimmer?
Pruner.
Yeah,
Little
hand-
pruner. There we go.
pruner.
Pruner. Yeah. Excuse my brain.
So I got up and I'm like, yep, I want to set my platform here because I know they're going to come from that direction. So I'll be able to just peep around the tree and come full draw. It'll be fine. Set the platform. And I can kind of tell I'm like leaning funny. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm leaning funny. It's leaning a little weird.
That sure is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was. It was like, well,
It said you could
no.
jab
once-
your knee in there to stabilize yourself, but if you're in a
Right.
small tree like you said you were, then it was
Yeah, I mean the
trickier.
tree was only 7 inches around, and it was a forked tree, so there was another 6 inch. It was a crotch, probably about 6 feet below me,
Mhm.
and both of them just grew up like this. It was an ash tree, so it's not long for the world because the whole top is dead, and won't be long, and it'll be laying in the muck below.
hmm
So I'll get my sits out of
Yeah,
that
we were in
tree
that-
while I
We
can.
were in a dead tree, the two of us last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you
That
start
was
getting up higher and
cherry.
it gets a little.
Man,
you're like,
that
I
emerald
wonder about this
dashboard.
choice. It got windy one day and I was like, hope this isn't the.
Yeah, Emerald Ash Borer really cleaned house in a lot of our swamps and area around here. It just there's so many. You look across all over the place, fence lines that were loaded with them. They're just barren. There's so many dead trees standing. A lot of firewood.
I know we got two on our property that get injected or whatever, which I got to have done.
Injected.
2 ash trees.
Yeah.
Does it keep the boar out or what?
Yeah. They inject them with some
Hmm.
sort of chemical and to keep them
I did not
protected.
know that.
Interesting.
You can go look at the base of the trees. There's little, inlets where they pump
Cool.
the shit in there. It's
Huh.
not super expensive, but it has to be done like every other year. Otherwise the trees will go.
Huh.
And the one in the backyard is a very big tree that I can't imagine that thing going. Like someone would have to pay a lot of money to get
Yeah.
that thing cut up.
Wow.
Lumber for the next couple freaking decades or something. It's like one of those big trees, those redwoods.
Oh.
It's like a mini redwood.
Hmm.
It's huge. You could drive a car through it.
You could
My
create
kids play car.
Little tykes.
Yeah.
stole a car.
Oh God. So how was your hunt then, Derek? What did you have?
Man,
going on?
I felt like I had it all figured out, and then I got I'm kayaking down this creek, sneaking in the back.
Oh, you kayaked in, huh?
beautiful
That's
bed,
right.
yeah.
You did have the kayak strapped to your car. I didn't put
Yeah,
two
I had the
together.
kayak, and I got it all figured out. I'm gonna have this beautiful entry. Nothing's gonna smell me. I'm coming from the river, going 40 yards in, setting up over this bedding area. And man, I get in the river, and it was cold that morning. And the water was warm, and I could not see a goddamn thing. It was fog
Oh man.
everywhere.
clunking
So
into
I
shit.
literally couldn't see anything. So I'm just like slowly and like going back and
Yeah.
forth. I'm looking at Onyx to like navigate down the
Yeah.
river because I can't see for like 5 feet. So I got down there and I almost tipped it because I'm guessing it was a carp or a smallmouth bass was in the dark right next to me, and all of a sudden it just and I
Scared you?
just about tipped over the kayak. But I made it to where I needed to go, and I walked in. I thought I got in good, picked a tree, found like a fresh rub in the dark on the way. I'm like, oh, this is good, And as soon as I got up in the tree, I still had my headlight on. I was just about to turn it off. I took a breath. It was all going exactly the opposite direction that the forecast was supposed to go.
Man.
And about 10 minutes after it got light, I could hear a deer below about 200 yards, 250 yards. And I was like, well, that was fun. Glad I blew that spot out in
Damn it.
10 minutes.
Yeah, blew it right off.
So I didn't see any deer that morning. So, I felt pretty not so okay after that.
Yeah.
Something like a forecast change like that. That's tough.
I mean, it
It's
was
a tough
just so
break.
still.
The
That,
light-
there was nothing going anyway.
Light winds are
Morning hunts are really hard
And
for that
it
reason.
just-
It's usually it can.
morning hunts can be tough, and then you add the other thing of a light variable wind, and that's what it was. It was like light and variable. That's what they kind of were predicting at the end of the day. The night before, I'm looking at it going, this thing has changed like 4 times now.
Yeah, there's a lot of models like weather apps pull from. So I use like 4 of them, and at one point I Googled what are the best weather apps. AccuWeather and Dark Sky are the top 2 rated ones, but they'll be different because they're pulling a different prediction model.
Mhm.
And so you have to figure out and they're doing it as a very broad stroke. So they're looking at a whole region and assuming that that's going to happen. But if you're in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin versus West Bend, you might see 2 very different scenarios. So Dark Sky apparently is better at pulling a more acute location. But then you just got to contrast it against like a weather bug and something else to just see if
Right.
the model is going to flow.
Yeah.
But I asked a question to I don't know if it was the OK's crew or the Shooter Buck page. What are the top 3 apps everyone's using? And I think everybody is using Windy was the constant one
Windy.
that I saw. And that's one that I've been touting and using for a number of years now.
Yeah, because it'll actually show you the wind direction.
And you can forecast it. You can scrub to the next couple days.
Mhm.
And then you just got to watch it.
Yep.
But so that's less weather and more, it's just freaking wind.
Yep.
And that's short of the weather stuff. You kind of know what's going on there, but the wind is what we're looking at when I'm calling you at the blue. Like, did you see the wind? Did you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
We got to access it from this side.
Mhm.
And Saturday night, my buddy Adam came down and he was going to hunt. So we got in the woods pretty early, and I was taking him back to a spot. I had a camera up all summer on the creek. I sent you a couple pictures.
Mhm.
There was plenty of nice bucks crossing this creek out of a bedding area. That's where I shot my buck last year. And they were on there morning, night, just going back and forth, just like they're supposed to. And so I was like, here's a good spot to bring Adam. We got a good chance of seeing something. We got in there, and it was hot, but the wind was pretty good for us. And we saw one doe right at dark. She came in dead downwind to me, blew at me again, twice in one day. Perfect. Awesome. Killer start.
Yeah.
And then
Thanks.
when I got down, I looped a little bit out of my way. I had another camera that I put up about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago maybe, on another creek crossing closer to where I was sitting. And I got down there, and it was gone. So I thought, well, maybe that's why we didn't see anything. If somebody found that camera, they were on
Stunk it
their
up
way
and-
into the bedding area where I expected all the deer to come
So,
from.
man, I don't get the theft still. I
No,
can't
it
get over that.
really sucks. I
don't
mean, I walk
understand.
past cameras.
I do too. I don't
All
want
the
to
time.
I don't want to touch them, man.
Yeah.
I wave at them,
Yeah,
thumbs up,
thumbs
like
up, whatever.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't check the cards on them.
Nope.
Like I don't
I leave
touch
them
them.
alone.
Somebody's doing their thing. That's what I'm doing too. Like just
Yeah.
walk by it.
Walk by it. Leave it be. There's no reason to go mess with somebody else's stuff.
We're all doing the same thing. We're not supposed to be on the same team.
Yeah. Same team, bro.
Same team. Come on.
Come on.
I mean, it was a cheap, shitty camera, but still, it's
Well,
just like
just the
thought
whole
of it.
principle of it.
Well, it's all the work, then sweat equity that goes into hanging the damn thing. It's like, yeah, you know what I had to do to get this here, you shit.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Don't
Dick.
be a dick.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was my opening day. Not how I pictured it, but it's how it
well,
goes.
I thought Greg was me in the morning. I was like, how's it going? I was all and I texted both you guys because
Yeah.
I was like trying to be vicarious through the two of you because
Yep.
I'm here holding a newborn. And I think I sent you a picture. I had both my kids in the chair with
Yeah,
me.
I
Yep.
said, where are you sitting this morning?
My-
You sent the
my
picture in the
armchair.
recliner? Yeah.
That's where I am.
A little cozier.
Yeah.
A little.
I think last night I went to bed at 4 a.m. and I got maybe 2 hours of sleep. So
Man, I
and
don't
the other
miss
night was
those.
not much better. So
Under 2 months is just
yeah,
a shit show.
it's brutal. Oak Tree Dreams haven't gone bow hunting yet. Been too busy goose hunting.
Yeah, he's been waterfall hunting like crazy.
Yeah, but these pixies getting on cell cams, he said, are making the decision harder
Hmm.
to not go. John Dove's in the house.
Johnny.
John just got his new OK Center T-shirt and decal. Saw that. Shot my buck last year directly in front of someone's trail camera that I had no clue was hanging there.
That's awesome.
Thought I should leave him a note. That's good. See, so and Anthony Heller with Deervein, buddy of ours, he had gone out on opening and posted where he like went to the spot. He's like, I got there like 4:15 a.m. and there's already 3 other cars in the spot.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I thought I was like ahead of it at 4:15. He got there. And he gets all the way to the spot he had a waypoint for, and there's another hunter like basically on the waypoint. And he's
Right.
like, well, clearly we're thinking the same. And so he's like, I got back to the lot and I wrote the guy a note. Sorry for I messed up your hunt. You know, he's
Yeah.
trying to
That's
leave a good
thoughtful.
mark.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if somebody does that and you just, he said it right. The guy's doing his job just like
Mhm.
that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, hats off to you.
Well, the
And you
learning
beat
curve
me in there.
with social and all the deer hunting groups, the learning curve's been shortened a ton.
You think?
Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge out there. The episode we released when I was, out for the last 2 weeks, Cody DeQuisto had said, he was talking a lot about hunting pressure. And he's like, a lot of guys think when they get to a spot and they see another stand or a cam or another hunter that like, oh, well, now I'm never going to hunt here. He's like, I'll still hunt there. I won't be right on top of the guy, but that means it's a good spot. So now it's
Right.
just, now you have some competition.
Yeah.
And I've always never done that. I'm like, well, this is ruined now. Someone's here. He's like, that you don't know if they're coming back, if they've been there yet, and so on and so forth. He's like,
Yeah.
so if you've done all that work to get to that spot that you think is really good, he's like, it probably is really good. And if someone else is thinking the same thing, there's a reason that spot is looking like a good spot.
Right.
So I haven't heard anyone say that before. I don't know if you guys have heard that logic. It was interesting. His
I think
perspective was interesting.
It still pays to go in there and check it out. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but be mindful and pay attention to what's in front of you. Because if you see,
Look for hunter sign.
look for hunter sign. If you see,
We've
boot
seen trail
tracks
cams,
right
like,
down the
damn.
same trail.
Yeah.
Pretty good chance he's in there. Maybe you want to go either to the west or to the east or turn around. Yeah, maybe you got to
Yep.
drive a few minutes down the road and put in and look at another
Get a
part
different
in
access
that
point or
area.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just what you have to do.
I think that's.
We were just talking about access for a property that you're hunting. So
If,
we'll have to look at some maps.
if you can get off during the week,
Yeah.
those are the kind of spots that are like,
Honestly,
on a
untouched.
Wednesday,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Get in there, hunt that spot. But on the weekend, I would just say I'd probably steer clear of that because you're going to end up getting frustrated, or they're going to end up getting frustrated.
Yeah,
so it's
Exactly.
like in a high traffic time, I'd just probably go the other way and find something else. But
Right.
during the
got,
week, heck yeah, get in there.
We do get a call, so let's just take a break here. Just break it up a little bit. Hey, Johnny, thanks for calling in. You're live on the OK's Hunter Podcast. What's up, buddy? How you been?
How you doing, guys?
Doing well.
We are all right.
Johnny
doing
Love.
doing well. Good.
You hanging in there?
Thought I'd sport my. I am. I'll say my back hurts like hell, but it's getting better. We'll find out tomorrow what the deal is. So
Sure.
I'm hoping for some good news so I can get back in the saddle.
Yeah. No pain, no gain, right?
Literally saddle or tree stand?
Yeah. No, the saddle, man.
All right.
Screw that tree stand stuff.
And your camera setup, I think it was you that shared some on social.
That thing's a beast.
That was a pig of a setup.
Well, it is, but hey, if you want to do a good job of capturing somebody like Brian Austin, I guess you got to have the right shit in the tree.
Can you tell the audience kind of what you got going on with that? Because from a DIY self-filming perspective, I mean that's quite the arsenal.
Well, so I'm running a Sony A6600.
Okay.
And I've been playing around with this thing for probably a good year now, at least. It's mounted onto a small rig base that has some sliders on it. So what I'm able to do is run a small audio mixer that allows me to run a wireless mic, which I can put on, say, Brian or whoever I'm out filming with, but yet still run my shotgun mic. up in the tree. So that's what some of the extra stuff is. And
Oh, so you're getting
then
two audio
I finally
feeds.
broke down. Oh, go ahead.
So you're getting two real-time audio feeds. You don't got to worry about matching up audio to video later. I see. That's
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
impressive.
So the A6600 actually has two audio channels if you use the right setup.
That's good to know because I have the A6000 and there's no input for audio at all. So even though there's a shotgun mic on there, I'm like, what the hell is the point of this? Like,
Yep, exactly. And that's part of the reason I went with the A6600. And then I broke down and bought a 5-inch monitor because you just can't see enough off the little screen that's on the back.
It just looks really robust and intimidating, but the way you just described it, it sounds manageable. But that's a lot of weight to be lugging out there on top of everything else you got going on.
It to be honest with you, it really isn't that heavy. I haven't weighed it myself, but I mean, hell, I'm already carrying a tree arm, and really last year, the only thing that I would have not had on here was the external monitor, and I changed up the base so that I could mount things a little bit differently. And what I was able to do is create it so that I can tear it apart extremely easy to be able to pack into my pack. And yeah.
And what about rain?
That's what we train for.
How are you? Yeah, shit, you guys are freaking crazy
right?
over there. How are you protecting it from the elements?
From the elements?
If it's going to rain or something, you got like an umbrella on it or what?
Well, I should. I've been lucky enough where it hasn't been in a downpour, but I can tell you last year I fell in a creek with it, and it survived. Nothing happened to the camera or the lens.
Wow.
And things, but no, obviously, yeah, that's probably something I need to think a little bit more about when it comes to it. So,
nothing like a Sendex bag and a piece of camel cloth to cover it up with.
Well, I do have a what do you want to call it? A rain cover for an old pack.
Okay.
That I have that actually could go over the top of it. That, to be honest, if it's big enough, I could actually pull it over the top of my head, and I could fit right inside the damn thing. So
nice.
So it works. It works.
That'll do the job in a pinch. If a rainstorm creeps in on you, throw that over it. At least it's not getting directly soaked.
Yeah, you don't know the water there. It's a lot of money.
Exactly. But I had to laugh about the camera, trail camera comments and stuff, because I literally did. Last year when I shot my buck, I was hunting in one spot and hadn't been seeing any deer, and I'm like, you know what? Hey, within 10 minutes, I can have everything torn down. I can move another couple hundred yards and get up in a spot that I had actually seen deer previously from far off. Found a tree, crawled up into it, ended up having the buck come along, shot it, pass through. Deer runs away, get down, walk over by my arrow, and the arrow is sticking right in front of the tree where the trail camera is. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that there.
And you should let me know with your email address to send the photos or something.
Sounds like a good spot to hang a camera. The big buck walking right by.
Yeah. And I should have left a note. But I didn't. But after I watched the footage, if you watch the footage, the deer is actually standing directly in front of the trail camera when he gets shot. So
somebody's got a very cool picture.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure I can show up on like some trail cam website or something.
Yeah.
Win photo of the month.
Yeah, right. And I'm surprised. That's true. Either that or he was so pissed off that he said,
should have been hunting.
Man, not going to do that anymore.
Trail cams don't kill deer. People kill deer.
You think about how crazy that is. My dad and I always talk about it up north. It's like to get a deer to walk by the tree that you're sitting in giant woods.
Yeah.
But then to get a deer to walk by a tree that you're sitting in with a trail camera pointing right at it while you shoot it.
Yeah.
That's just wild. That's very cool.
Right? That's a different. Yeah, that's different.
What are the
Definitely a
odds?
different ball game there for sure.
What are the
Definitely
odds?
a different ball game there for sure.
Well, John, thanks for calling in, and thanks for the love today on social. And hopefully the shirt's comfy and it fits good, and you got some people honking at you on your with the new decal in the window.
I definitely do. I actually had a guy mention something to me yesterday about it.
Well, that's good to know. How about that?
So,
Was
no.
it Greg?
Yeah. No, it wasn't Greg.
See?
It wasn't Greg because unfortunately I can't drive yet. So I've got my kids and friends hauling me around, and I can't remember where we were, but anyway,
That's
he
mighty
made
kind.
mention of it
That's cool.
and stuff. But no, can't appreciate you guys enough for all you do for the hunting community and what you've done for us. And yeah,
Well,
thanks for having me on.
I haven't broke my back for you guys yet, but I feel like the longer I wait, the worse it's going to be. So it's making me not want to do it. But I promise I will. I gotta get my shit together.
The challenge is already out there. You guys know that
Yep.
from Luke.
Yep.
He pulled it off. So
Yes, he did.
we got to start getting everybody else out there.
Yep,
bet.
no, you're right about that. Well, we got another caller behind you, John. I'm going to go ahead and get to the next one here, but it's good to hear from you and hang in there, man.
Yeah, get
Thanks,
better soon, buddy.
Hey, we'll do. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
All right,
See ya.
bud.
All right, so we got who's next? Dave Bechtel.
What?
Davy Poo.
Hey, Dave, you're live on the OKS Hunter podcast. You got a buck over the weekend. How's it going?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Hey, sweetness.
We're not as good as you. You heard
How
about
we
their
doing?
hunts.
Oh, we're doing all right.
We're taking turns calling each other buckless hunters, but we can't call you that, my friend.
Yeah.
What would we call him instead of
Well,
buckless?
Every
Bucked?
blind squirrel finds a nut every now and
Yeah, as they
Oh.
say, you know,
I
sun
don't know
shines
if
up
that-
a dog's ass once in a while.
You-
No,
Yep.
man. You put your time in. That's for sure.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
I'm sure you guys with Chase
Opening
Nation got
night,
it. Got the story captured well. Any tidbits you can share with us here on the show?
Sam has his work cut out for him. It was a very unique hunt.
okay.
No, the footage is good. The footage is really good. It was just, every year for the last couple of years, either Steve, Jeffrey, or I have kind of said, with Sam, like between the three of us, whoever has like a buck pattern and thinks they can kill it on opening night, one of us will give up our sit.
Sure.
Last year, Steve was with Sam when he shot that drop tine buck on opening night. And then I think Steve was going to be filming someone else. And I told Sam, I was like, well, the bucks that I've kind of been on have kind of went their own way for the time being. I said, I'll come film you. So we did our scouting during the summer on that property that he's on. And, it's a pretty unique setup where we got a pretty nice vantage point where we can kind of watch the deer. And when we were out there, there's just a really nice 8-pointer, and I have a crush on 8-pointers. Like, there's a special place in my heart for 8-pointers, and this one showed up, and he actually had velvet hanging off of his rack, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I would shoot that thing in an instant.
Is that when
And
you
then
were
Sam
summer
was kinda like,
scouting,
well,
Dave? Is that when you were filming Velvet?
You know what?
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
We,
sorry.
we got footage of him this summer with the velvet hanging off and with the velvet on.
That's cool.
And
So you got more
and
for the-
talking with Sam, I was like, man, I don't know how you don't shoot that, but he's on some pretty special deer. And he kind of, I think it was half-heartedly, but serious. He was like, well, if you're filming and he comes, like, shoot him. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, it's
Okie dokie.
opening night.
You don't have to twist my arm too hard.
Done. Deal.
Go get him. Get him.
Get him.
Sam's very, very gracious in that way where I do appreciate it. And he's like, well, if he gives a good opportunity and he's on film, he goes, take him. And, in the back of my mind, I was like, this isn't going to happen. But then he was kind of like, well, yeah, bring your bow. And I'm like, oh boy.
There's the
this
green
could
light.
get pretty
Green light.
interesting. And we, my wife, was selling flowers at a festival right here in North Lake that morning. So I didn't hunt. I helped her at the booth, and then I flew out of there as soon as she sold out. And I drove to meet Sam opening night, and kind of joking, I was like, man, we're going to see that 8-pointer. And we've always joked, like, wouldn't it be awesome to double up on film? Like, you don't see that very often. That's kind of always been one of our goals, to like shoot 2 bucks in one episode from the tree. I just think that, it's hard enough to shoot one, but if you could get 2 and 2 good ones, like, that would be really neat and capture it well. And, that was kind of our goal, but the main goal was to capture Sam, shoot this big one he's after. And he might be shooting it right now. He's out there hunting.
Sure.
So, we get out there and get all set. And I have the camera arm on my left because I think this is where our best opportunity for shots are. And it's a 4th arrow arm. So there's some flexibility, but not a ton, if you guys have ever used one of those. And the deer started all coming from our right, which was not ideal because I can't really move in the tree I'm in. I'm kind of stuck. And a couple little bucks funneled through, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work out very well if this big buck comes in, because I'm not going to be able to capture it, and he might turn the bow on me if I screw this up. So after those bucks had kind of come through, I took the camera off the arm and I was just freehanding it. And that was going pretty well. And then all of a sudden it was like, Sam, here's another buck. And it was another 8-pointer. He was a little wider, but short tined. And I was like, well, that's not the one that I'm interested in. And then all of a sudden the one I like came like up the hill, and like the lights glistening on its rack. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you
That's
gotta
a
be
sign.
kidding me. And he's like, Sam's like, which one's that? I'm like, it's the 8.
You're like drooling.
Right.
Wipes drool from her face. It's the 8.
And I kind of like, I looked over at him. I'm like, I'm shaking so bad. I'm like, I'm sorry about the footage, because like, I'm excited, like shaking, because like deer just kind of piling in, and it's like, whoa.
Were
Like,
you still
this
freehanding
is
it, Dave?
pretty wild. What's that?
Were you still freehanding at that point?
Yeah. So in the episode, you might see a section where it starts to go a little berserko.
That's awesome.
Real emotion.
I do apologize.
Shooter buck alert.
So-
Shooter buckle.
Buck.
Yeah, when the camera starts going like AWOL, like that's when you know the big.
You know the
deer
camera
is.
guy's onto something before the before the hunter is. Oh, that's
And
funny.
so I'm like watching this buck, and he's kind of looking at me, and I'm kind of looking over at him, and I'm like, no, we're not going to shoot it. It's opening night. And he's kind of like, well, do you think, should I shoot it? And I'm like, I've hunted with Sam enough, and I've seen the deer he shot. He would be very happy with this buck, but with what he is pursuing, I think he was smart in electing not to shoot this deer, because if he shoots the one tonight, it's going to be pretty special. Like, it's a heck of a deer, and very large, to say the least. So he did not want to shoot it. So we're kind of like conversing back and forth, and he's like, well, if you can get the camera on the arm and get him in frame, shoot him. So I have the camera to my left, or the camera arm to my left, and I'm like, my body is completely sitting sideways on the tree stand at this point, like, so I can rest the camera on my lap. And the deer's at about 28 yards right now, and I could shoot him. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like,
This is happening.
what the heck am I gonna do?
Is this real life?
So I slowly start like rotating my body, and at the same time reaching for the camera arm. And I'm doing like the sit and reach so I can wrap the camera arm tight around the tree. And I finally get it, but the deer's gone. And I'm like, what the hell? Well, the deer ended up coming closer. He was at about 20 yards, but he's in the buckthorn, and Sam can see the deer. I can't. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? And then there's little bucks milling around. So there's
A lot of eyes.
probably, 6 or 7 sets of eyes all around us. And it's, you trying not to like screw everything up. And I finally get the camera arm wrapped around, slowly get it on there. But now I have the process of locating the deer again, because it's pretty dense, and he's kind of like pointing, and he's like, follow my finger. And like, I'm watching his finger, and I'm trying to figure out where in the buckthorn this deer is. And I can just see like patches of movement, and I can't tell what's what, because there's 4 bucks at this point all around us. And I'm like, I have no idea which one I'm looking at. Like, it could be the little one, it could be the big one. And then all of a sudden, Sam's like, the little one's coming out, the big one's behind him. So I kind of slowly creep up. I grab my bow, and from where I was standing, obviously the camera arm's at about my waist height, and there's buckthorn everywhere. You can't see the deer at 28 yards quartering away in the viewfinder. I can see him clear as day. I could shoot him all day, and Sam's like, don't shoot unless you have a shot, and make sure you have the shot on film. And I'm like, I can't shoot him. You know, I got buckthorn in the way. You can't see him in the viewfinder. So then the buck kind of slowly starts making his way away from us, but then starts hooking back in. And Sam's like, he's at 32 yards. And so I quick adjust the camera, make sure everything's in focus. I zoom in a little bit more, and I drew back and gave him the old meh, and he threw his head up and put it right behind the shoulder. And I don't know why. Normally I aim right for the crease of the shoulder or directly on the shoulder. And like, I distinctly remember like aiming back behind the shoulder. And I shot, and I heard the boom, like it zipped through the diaphragm, zipped right through the deer, and he bolted. And like, I was super excited, but as upon the release, I knew where I hit. And I looked at Sam, and I was like, I don't know why I did that. Like, I literally aimed back, and I hit where I was aiming. Like, I don't know like what I was thinking, if I just rushed it, but arrow zipped through it, and we're like, okay, awesome. We have 1 of 2 down. Like, we're halfway to the double up. So we held tight, and we saw a number of other deer, and, you know, but the big one never showed. And like the whole time now I'm removing myself from hunter back to cameraman.
Yeah,
So
your
that's
adrenaline's got to come down at that
That's
point.
tough.
Your nerves are probably all jacked up.
Yeah.
You want to track your deer. You want to validate that you got. Yeah, that's, man.
Yeah, so it was not easy. And so like, obviously I have
for
the
you.
camera, so I'm like reviewing the footage, and on the viewfinder, it's so small, so you can't really tell. So what I'll do is I'll play it, but then I'll record it off my phone. So then I can blow up my phone and do super slow motion on my phone to see exactly where the arrow hits.
You got to get one of those screens that
And,
Johnny
like-
Dove has that he was just talking about.
Yeah, on those monitors.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so, like, in reviewing the footage, it's like, oh my gosh, like, I hit pretty far back. This isn't necessarily ideal. I didn't think I hit that far back, but based off the footage, it was like, gosh, like, this is getting to the point where it's a little iffy. So, I've had some pretty bad experiences in the past when, you know, even when you think it is like a liver hit, and you're like, well, you know, we gave them 3 hours. We're going to go in after them and get them. And in my experience, I mean, every deer is different, but last year I shot one in Missouri, and it was 1 lung, livers, and guts. And I think I was on the phone with Derek when the deer died.
Yeah.
And it took exactly 4 hours
Oh.
for that deer to die with a lung, liver, and gut shot. I watched it die. I was getting ready to shoot it. So like,
That's a
from
relief.
bad experiences, it was like, and we can't go for this deer. We can't go for this deer. And so we got down and crept up, and the arrows just caked in blood, and there's blood all around the arrow. And it's like any other time I'd be like, yep, let's go get them. But after last year's experience, it's like, you know, the old saying, I think the juries were the ones that brought it up, like when in doubt, back out.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Like, yeah, I know it was warm, but it was going to get down into the 50s. So, I struggled, but it was like, we need to get out of here. And like talking with Sam, I was like, we can't be out here. Like, we gotta, like, so we literally turned the Luminac off and walked straight out of the woods. And I didn't even go to his house to watch the footage. I'm like, I'm going to film you in the morning. Like, I'm going to bed. Like, I've been up all day. Like, I'll see you in the morning. Let's get a good night rest, because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So go home, and I didn't sleep a lick, like at all. But, you know, luckily Sam was able to put it on the big screen with his computer and slow it down. And he sent me like frame by frame, almost like the arrow penetrating, and it's, you know, center body, a little far back, but not as bad as we thought. So we were thinking potentially back end of lungs, liver, and then guts. But I didn't realize how hard the deer was quartering.
I was just going to say
when you see the footage. What's that, Greg?
I was just going to say that if that deer was quartering away kind of hard, you stand a really good chance of, you know, on entry, yeah, you're probably back, but on the exit, you're probably right behind the front shoulder on the opposite side. So you might be okay, but I'll let you finish telling your story.
Yeah. So, you know, in watching it, I mean, it happened so slow, but happened so fast, because I'm running the camera and I'm grabbing my bow and trying to do everything. And I didn't realize that the deer was slightly quartering towards me, but upon the shot, he drops a little bit and he torques his body to, so his shoulders are coming towards me. So when the arrow entered, it entered probably 4 inches behind the shoulder, but exited 1 inch in front of the back leg.
That's almost like Greg's full body pass through. The famous full body pass through.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Greg, but
it is interesting though that your arrow was so caked in blood.
Yeah,
I remember when you told me about it, you're like, dude, there's so much blood on it. Like, I wonder what that arrow went through, that there was no guts on it. Usually, you know, when your arrow exits through the back end, in my experience,
you're getting something.
It kind of gets wiped clean almost.
But if it's,
don't find much
if
blood.
it's low enough though too, or high enough, you might be missing that gut. Well,
I suppose.
Maybe well, I know when I got my deer, I hit that femoral artery. So it was to the back, but high, and it was blood city. It was like a freaking scene out of Dexter.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you severed that or something on the way out, maybe if it was higher, but it doesn't sound like it.
Well, I can tell you, I definitely did not sever any arteries. Because that deer would have died very quickly. And
4 hours would indicate, I guess not.
Yeah. So we get out there in the morning and we go to the arrow, and I'm anticipating, like, based off of where the arrow was and the blood around the arrow, I'm anticipating like a nice blood trail, like a walking one where we're just going to be able to follow this. It's going to be good. And we're just going to, you know, deer's going to be laying after it beds 2 or 3 times. It'll just be dead. Well, long story short, there's no blood. Literally, we can't find anything beyond where the arrow is. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this isn't happening. Like, no way. There's so much, like, we have to be missing it. And so, like, I'm on my hands and knees, and Sam's kind of circling. And then all of a sudden he goes, I got some. And it was 2 teeny drops on a log where he had jumped over.
What a bloodhound.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we know he was here. This was the direction. He's on a trail. Let's just slowly keep working it. Maybe he'll be bedded. And we did for about 30 minutes. And we're like, holy cow. Like, we can't find anything. Like, what's happening? So Steve Jeffrey was coming down because we anticipated he'd be dead pretty, like, quick track job. He was going to come down and take pictures. So we're like, you know what, we got to get Steve. We don't want to get other bodies in here, but we're going to have to get Steve in here. So let's just walk and meet him. And Steve had parked down the road, and there was a trail, and like, let's just walk this trail down, and maybe Steve will be coming up, and then we can just jump back in here. And then we're walking, and like as we're walking, like the things that are going through my mind, like I lost this deer. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna sell my bow.
I've been there before.
We've all been there.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna stop hunting. Like this sucks. Like it's like that. Like you go from the highest to highs to lowest to lows, and
right.
So dramatic, and it's just,
man, we don't get any of this in the photos that were shared. I was like, look at you, all right, and then here's the backstory.
There's always a story.
Right.
It's always good to know the story. I'm glad you called.
That's the false persona that social media puts out.
Yep.
I had this great day. You don't know what I got to get here.
Yeah, the emotional roller coaster,
Yeah.
the ups and downs, the sleepless night, which, by the way, I can sympathize with, but not for the same reasons.
As hunters, we love these animals.
Yeah.
I can speak that wholeheartedly for the four of us that are conversing right now. We love these animals so much. Like, I feel like shit when I make a bad shot. We all do.
Yep.
And then, to go through what you were going through, then I get why you felt the way you did.
And Dave, before you finish your story here, I know what you were like feeling, because I've had the same thing. Like, even when you make a shot you think is decent, like my natural instinct, I think most hunters is like you second guess the crap out of yourself unless you see the deer go down. So like, even if I put on a good shot, like I'm second guessing. As soon as that deer runs, I'm like, oh my God, like I think I messed up. Like I hope it's okay. And Dave, for you to go through that like that night and then find the arrow with the blood and think that the next day it's going to be like this amazing blood trail, and to have that like let down again, like that is super tough.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with these, by the way, I'll go on a small rabbit hole, not terribly long, because I want to hear the end of the story here. But the three of us went to Vector Custom Shop, and we had some pork with Isaac.
Yep.
And the arrows that those guys make, there's so many case studies of people and anecdotes shooting deer with these heavy setups and these, high FOC, that it goes to the deer and they don't act hit. So then the psychology of it is, did I even hit him?
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's it's just to your point. Yeah, you hit it and you're like, what the
second guessing?
Yeah, total second guess.
And Dave's shooting a pretty well tuned.
Yeah, real quick, Dave. What is your setup, by the way?
It's an Easton Access with a Magnus broadhead.
The Magnus, okay.
And I have, I think, 75 up front. It's a 125 head. It's a pretty heavy arrow. I used to shoot some rockets. I mean,
you used to shoot
I like
super light ones.
Derek would always tell me, like, those arrows are a little light. And I'm like, yeah, but look how fast they're going. Like, this is awesome. Like, I can shoot like 100 yards flat. This is cool.
It's cool for killing foam. and you and I have had that conversation a ton.
So,
yeah, and it's just one of those things that I can. It's not the crazy heavy arrow,
no.
like 700 grains. It's not super light.
Wait.
I don't live in a black and white world, really. It's more to that gray area, like a happy medium. Like it's
Greg shoots his body weight in arrows.
Come on. Such a jackass.
Greg likes big arrows.
All right,
Greg
Dave,
likes his arrows.
I gotta hear how you found your buck here.
Yeah. All right, sorry.
I'll let you finish the story here, buddy.
Yeah, so we're like, again, I'm like, I'm selling this thing. I'm gonna take up chess. Like, I'm just gonna do anything besides this because I suck.
Chess.
It's a good show on Netflix.
I don't even know how to play chess. That'd take me a month, like 6 years probably.
He's going Queen's Gambit, y'all.
That's what it is, Queen's Gambit. Made chess cool again. All right.
So we're walking down this trail to meet Steve, and scouring, and I have my binoculars and I'm looking everywhere, and all of a sudden we're walking and Sam goes, there he is. And I look over, and right off the trail he's laying, and I'm like, oh my God. He's right there. I mean, if he wouldn't have been off that trail, truthfully, the location that he was we would have never found him. If he would have been even 5 feet, I would say, in almost any direction, we would have never found that deer. It was dumb luck, no blood. I got lucky. I truly did. And this might sound really weird. I was wearing my lucky underwear, and
Nice.
I attribute
God.
that to it.
Thank God.
Now
And that's
every
a
year.
whole nother story.
Here's
But
the lucky underwear.
Yeah, we drink all our scotch.
I'm so happy you found that buck, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Congrats.
Congrats on a nice one.
Beauty.
yeah, it was a roller coaster ride. But I think the big thing, comes back to just not pushing it, because we had no blood, and I would bet my life on it that if we would have went and looked that night, that deer would have been bumped and we would have never found them.
Right.
So, I mean, it was kind of one of those things where I've made the mistake a couple times. Like even when I told myself, like, don't do it. And you're like, oh no, like that devil on your shoulder is like, no, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're fine.
Yeah,
Just
that
go
devil
get
on my
enough
shoulder is pretty
blood.
loud. Go figure it out. I want to know. I have like this problem of not being in the know of anything. I hate purgatory. I need to know. So I'm a pretty impatient fucker when it comes to that.
That would be the biggest thing I can, and, Matt Hazel, he's like the king of that. And he says, like, if you don't see it fall, he goes, just come back in the morning. And Matt's a really good hunter. And, in talking with Derek, and I called Derek and I'm like, hey, what do you think? And Derek's like, nope, don't do it. And that's why, immediately it's like, I'm not making this mistake again. I can't. So let's just come back in the morning. I'm not going to sleep at all tonight. And then we got lucky. It's just one of those things. Everything fell into place. And now I'm a full-time cameraman.
Camera?
Yeah, are you hunting any other states or what? Because getting a deer in opening, it's kind of like my wife would be pretty thrilled with me. She'd be like, all right, you're done. I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. No more sleeping in the tree.
Well, I have a lease with Matt Hazel and Doc Tucker down in Missouri that I'm planning on going to probably sometime in November, the first week when I can try to escape school for a little bit. I'll go down there for an extended weekend and see what I can do. But I might be calling Derek and Greg about going to Illinois here pretty quick because that's a short drive.
Oh boy, here we
Here we
go.
go.
Fork up some dollars for that tag, huh?
It is what it is.
Greg's like,
It's
tail in between the legs.
experience,
It is what it
man.
is.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah, we'll have to talk.
Luckily,
Yep.
Tyler's not listening, so yeah, I might just go
What you need
online
to
and
do
buy
is-
it right now.
You boys need to scout very hard and put Kyla on a really nice buck and put her on cloud 9 when she shoots it, and then you kind of you're in the good graces again.
Yeah, that gets you that green card to go for a little traveling.
Yeah. I think she'll have an opportunity, and it's going to come mid-October to first week in November. I mean,
Yep.
It's kind of
where
nice though.
she's going to be hunting, that's when they're there. It's just a matter of time. So
That's a good point.
Cool.
I got to start doing the dishes a lot around the house so I can get out of here and get back out
And
hunting.
don't give her any tood when she asks you to do something. You better hop to.
But being the cameraman is kind of nice. It's like when your team is out of the playoffs, you're like, well, I can still watch the playoffs now, but at least I'm not stressing about it.
Yeah, you get to be part of the action, but you don't have that.
Yeah, you're not as.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a good analogy.
Yeah,
'Cause usually your team loses, but you've already won.
I truly enjoy being the cameraman, and it is like, I don't know, people think it's like super easy. Like, you just put the camera up and hit record and, self-filming. I told Derek and Greg, the hardest part about self-filming sometimes is actually hitting record. And as stupid as that sounds, I had that problem last year. I went in I'd see these bucks, I'd go into kill mode and I'd blinders. I'd have 2 GoPros set up and a big Sony camera. I'd be ready to roll. And I wouldn't turn one on. I'd just get into kill mode, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot.
It's exciting.
But
That's why
when you're the cameraman, your
trigger is
to
the record.
capture-
Yeah, is that red button?
you have to capture the experience in a way that a viewer is gonna feel it and feel like they were there. But then also, you can't ruin the hunt, so you have to be able to, because that's one thing that
Part of the
happens too, where the cameraman doesn't realize he's moving,
Mhm.
and you can blow up the whole hunt. So it's not very easy.
You sit there,
but I
you
love
be
it.
quiet,
It's very fun.
you press the record button, and you don't eat McDonald's the night before.
Good stuff. Thanks for sharing the story with us. It's going to
Yeah.
be fun for us to
Yeah,
watch it
I'm
when you guys
excited
get
to
it
see
out
it,
there.
buddy.
Yeah. And very
If you want
cool.
to, if you want to nab some audio from this or something, if Sam ends up killing that big one tonight, that'd be kind of fun too to lace over what you guys got going on. I called it on the
Yeah,
21st
yeah.
on the OKS Hunter podcast.
Dave said he was shooting them. Yeah,
That's
that'd be pretty
right.
cool.
Yep.
Well, congrats again, buddy.
I
Hell
hope
of a
he
buck.
does.
Those pictures with your wife and baby Bree with your deer were really epic that you
Yep.
posted. So
Priceless.
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Steve Jeffrey, he's very good with the camera, so I appreciated him making the drive down. And Eric Starr came down, and we ended up cutting the whole thing up right in the garage right away because it was so darn hot. It's like
That's
Perfect.
cool.
we don't have time for anything.
No.
Perfect.
Like we got to cut this deer up right now.
You guys got a good crew to have people
Yeah.
Heck
showing
yeah,
up like
man.
that. I'd only be so lucky to have these guys
Yeah.
come help me.
We'd be okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we'd
Greg,
be okay.
Greg's helped me.
That's all right.
So that's good stuff. Well, thanks
You
for
guys
calling
will
in,
be
man.
That's great. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on, and good luck. And I'm sure I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Awesome, man.
Thanks,
Look forward
buddy.
to
Have a
it.
good one. Tell
Take
the
care.
family hi.
Yep, you too.
See ya.
All right, bye.
All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps things up. Couple calls, shooting the shit. These guys are playing with the strop over here.
Derek's trying to brush his teeth with it.
Those iron will broadheads are no joke. They look like, I've said this a couple of times, it looks like someone's going to get down on a knee and propose.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a shiny piece of metal in that case
are
right
gorgeous.
there. Ain't much different than a shiny piece of metal you get down on a knee for.
almost as expensive.
Yeah.
I proposed to my wife, honey, can I go hunting for this season, please?
No joke.
She'd be so pissed. She wants me to redo our proposal because I messed up pretty bad on the first go around. She said yes, but it wasn't pretty.
Well, it must have been pretty enough.
No. No, she likes to tell the story because it puts me on blast. So that was the gift in and of itself.
Nice. That's all right.
Everyone's got like this.
Did you tell her to
grandiose
shut the
thing.
hell up?
Yeah.
You did?
No, she was sick. Here's the thing. I had
no.
big plans to I was communicating with the PR director of a big time musician who was coming to town. We had tickets for this concert. And so he was gonna like help me propose in front of a huge live audience. And she showed up at my apartment at the time a week before that. And it was the first time her and the ring were in the same proximity of each other in the same place.
Oh, no.
This is the kicker. I don't like Valentine's Day. I think it's bullshit. Still do. We don't do Valentine's Day. I won't do it. So it was Valentine's Day, and we were like, no gifts. And I'm like, cool, no gifts. I'm about that life. I'm not, and I wasn't. I was like taking for face value because I don't read between the lines. I know I'm supposed to. I don't like to do it. So I didn't get a gift. She did. She made me.
broke the rules.
She made me a gift of 100 photos of us with 100 things she loved about me.
How dare
I was like, you piece of shit. I was so
nice.
pissed.
Wow. He topped mine.
So what did I do? I'm like,
She did
I
you.
can fucking trump that. I got a goddamn ring in the other room.
Oh, watch this.
Yeah, watch
I
this.
go in the other room,
Iron will
and then
Broadhead.
suddenly
Yeah.
the ring. I'm wearing a hoodie, so like I got this big fucking box in my hoodie pocket, right?
Sure it was.
And I'm like, acting real
Your
weird.
hoodie or
And
your woody?
she's sick. Yeah. So she's like not feeling good. She's like sick, right? So I sit down on the couch and I was like, I didn't get you anything. I didn't get you anything. She's like, yeah, what the fuck's going on? Why do you keep saying that? I was like, I didn't care. I didn't get anything. And then I'm like, I take out my pocket. I'm like, I just
Boom.
lay it out there. And she's like, what's this? She thought it was like a necklace or something. And then she's
Did
like,
you say,
what are you
do
trying to
think of
say?
these apples?
She's like, what are you trying to do? And I said, she's like, are you asking me to marry you? And at this point, I had blacked out. She's like, you're not even on a knee. Now, keep in mind, we were on my shitty couch. So I just slithered down onto a knee, and I was like, will you marry me? And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" She cried that night because it was the worst proposal ever. She's like, "You need to do it again." I was like, "What do you mean do it again? Let's ring it. What? This is bullshit." And I was like, and meanwhile, the PR person's like, "So we good?" I was like, "No, we're not. It's done. The deed has been done." So
Man.
it was, I'm telling you guys, it was not good. So yeah, if I were to do this, she would not be happy with me.
No, clearly not.
No, I love her dearly, and those 100 reasons were pretty legit, and I was just mad that she won up me. So
You tried to pull the ace out of the pocket, and
it was
screwed
not
you
good,
either.
man. I got real nervous. I think I like played some music somewhere in there. I'm pretty sure I blacked out. It wasn't good. The whole thing was bad. I sweat through like 3 layers of freaking clothes in 2 seconds. I got real awkward.
It's crazy.
Smelled
how
like
that-
onions, eh?
Yeah.
Crazy how that little.
That's a lot of weight to carry around. But no one tells you, like, what do? Do you take it out of the box? Well, then I feel like I'm going to lose it. But on all the commercials, they open the box. Well, the box is huge. So what do you, like, no one tells you this shit.
You guys would be proud to know that I captured my proposal to Ashley on 2 different trail cameras.
Shut
Nice
the front
work.
door. So you were in your element. Yeah, that's what that,
No, we were indoors. I said I'm indoors. For real.
You were testing.
You're probably like,
product.
I'm just
Ashley's
experimenting.
the photographer, right? So like,
Yeah.
she loves the pictures. I was like, well, who the hell is going to take pictures of us? I can't have her take
Oh,
pictures
that's
of us.
great.
Golly.
So I was like, oh, I'll employ the old trail cameras.
Yeah, there you go.
Boy, oh boy. Well, for today, we all remain buckless, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. It's all right.
And I will never pass. You know, Dave said he had a thing for 8-pointers. I think I got a thing for 7-pointers.
I like a good 7.
Lucky. That's
Yeah.
a lucky buck right there. I'll take a lucky 7.
Why not?
That 5-pointer almost got it last year with you and me.
It did.
He just never actually closed the distance.
He was wise. Well, like the doe.
He was pretty stupid, but he was wise enough.
Yeah. Well, the doe saved his ass. So
Yeah, that's right.
If any of my buddies are listening right now, they'll know that there's a 6-pointer that I've wanted more than any other deer
Oh,
ever
all right.
in my life. The Big 6.
big,
Big six.
It's a legend of the North.
Bucks and
Pretty
6.
cool.
How about that? Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the show tonight. We're gonna cut this thing.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Don't forget your release. Take one of those stickers there.
Yeah, don't forget
Yeah.
your release.
Did you release?
See ya.
It's okay if you're buckless. We'll get there.
Well, I'll get there.